Oh, hello. Very different looking video today. Looks kind of amateur hour, if I do say so myself. For those of you who don't know, I used to use all this stuff for streaming. Though when my daughter was born, we had to stop the live streaming. That's not really compatible. And in the meantime, OBS has lost all of my settings and one of my cameras has broken down. But hopefully, you can see the product we're going to talk about. And I sound okay. And aside from the fact that I can't zoom this out any further, we should be more or less good to go. So, preamble done. We're going to be talking today about this product. This is from the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game. It's a Cool Mini or Not product, which probably means it was originally a Kickstarter, but it's been out for a while. This was a Christmas gift, which is why we're looking at it. It's quite interesting. The only other thing to note really is the art, as I understand it, all commissioned for the game because it is the novel license. So it's not Game of Thrones, the HBO TV show. Whether that means that HBO could make a competing miniatures line, I don't know. And this was a Christmas gift. It's a very peculiar thing, isn't it? When you get, and I've done it to people, and it's been done to me a couple of times. You get a Christmas gift of a miniature range that you don't play, right? And because somebody else loves the game and they want you to love it, and they give you something. So we'll go look at this. It's quite interesting because inside here we're not going to see sprues. That's what we see. That's what we're greeted at when we look inside. So I have looked inside this box before. But I haven't opened the packaging. Can I say this packaging is ghastly? And the only reason I say that is just how much air are they paying in this day and age with shipping as it is? How much air are they paying to ship these figures? I mean, if I show you that side on, like all the air under here and all the I don't know. Now, maybe it's just because they want a consistent box size, right? And some of the other stuff in the range is like a squad of guys. I don't know. So, we'll look at the back of the box first. See what we're getting here. Why did my friend think that I wanted Lannisters? I mean, they're the bad guys, right? But in fairness, from a painting point of view, probably is what I would have picked, to be perfectly fair. Because I'm not a big fan of bestial, furry, Viking-y adjacent stuff, which sums up quite a lot of the Game of Thrones universe, doesn't it? So that's pretty cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I can count 5 character models. Okay, so you've got the Hound, right? Tywin, who doesn't look anything like Charles Dance because, as we've said, it's the book license. Tyrion, the High Sparrow, and Pycelle. So, yeah, let's have a. We got some cards as well. We'll look at them in a minute. Let's have a look at the actual what we're here to see. So, open this. Right. Yep. Tape, and then get. We're not saving the planet here, are we? Right. If I'm being honest, these feel more like high-end board game pieces than it's such a sad elitist thing to say, isn't it? But they feel more like high-end board game pieces than miniature games pieces. It's hard for me to convey. They feel. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know. There's just something about the way they're very robust. Right. So Christmas of detail. Let's have a look here. Now, how? Let's try. We've got the big guns out today, right? So if I turn there, and then I turn, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Right, So this is the Hound. And, man, companies cast stuff up in this light coloured plastic, and even if I get the focusing just right, it's pretty hard to see. Actually, you know what? The face is really finely sculpted. You know? I do think that's cool. There doesn't appear to be any mould lines on the figure, right? So there's nothing really that I'm going to need to do to that before I undercoat it, which some people, I understand, hate the clipping and unbuilding and gluing side of the hobby. So that might be a boon. I can't see. I'm almost looking for something hobby adjacent to be able. I mean, I'll be able to do something on the bases, I'm sure, right? But I'm almost looking for something hobby adjacent that I'd be able to do to this. The base is kind of weird there. Is it glued in? Can I get it out? Do I want to get it out? I think pre-glued into the two little holes in the factory, probably. What a weird thing. I realise this is probably old news to some people, but it's definitely a new way of doing a tabletop miniatures game. Like, and with, I bet they're all going to be in different coloured plastic as well. So you could probably just play, if you're one of these people whose main view of what these things are that we collect is that they are play tokens for a game, right? You could play with that straight outside the box. What I need to do really is get it painted up and see what that's like. What about this fellow? Right, let's just make sure I'm holding him in the right plane of focus. And you can see, if you compare it with a Warhammer figure, the faces are just so more. There's a lot of detail in those faces. Like they all take paint really, really well. But then the costumes are much more simple. It's this thing of when something is. And I know this is not from a TV show, but also the people sculpting them will have had like a sideways look at the TV show for various things. In real life, things are less ornamented than they are in Warhammer. Right, Warhammer models are designed to paint in a certain way. These will probably be, apart from the faces, quite quick to paint. Right, once you get the textures in. But they should be quite interesting and good as a palette cleanser. Again, we got those two studs, so I think pre-glued into the base in the factory, right? And then other than that, it really does, like, it's very clean. Part of me really wants to know how it goes together. Like, you can see a bit of some glue, a bit of shiny glue there. Like, I don't know. It feels like, I mean, from my point of view, it feels like someone's done half the fun for you, right? Because I really enjoy building and clipping and scraping and filing the miniatures. You don't need to do any of that. You don't get to do any of that. Your mileage may vary, but they really are, straight into undercoating, and then they'll be ready to get painted. Right, that's probably the most different looking from the books to the. I've never read the books, to be fair. I should never admit that, should I? But I've never read the Game of Thrones books. I'm not really a big. I was as a kid, obviously a big reader. Not really a big reader of books. I could listen to that. I'm slowly plugging away through the Horus Heresy audiobooks while I paint and stuff. When I'm not listening to YouTube. But I get really, if I'm reading a book, I just think I could be doing hobby with that time. My hands could be, instead of looking at this book, they could be doing hobby. I get very kind of, I don't know. I guess I don't have the attention span for it anymore. I'd like to be doing, don't lose the focus, come on. The detail, again, it's the heads and the faces that really doing it for me. The armour there is very detailed. It's going to be tricky to do much with that beyond dry brushing and stuff. And I'll need to go online and look at some colour reference and work out what colour stuff is supposed to be, because that's the kind of person I am. Right. Again, it's a really simple miniature with a really well sculpted head. You know, and I say simple, that's not a bad thing. Like, trying to paint this to look good. Dude, I detect a little bit of cleanup that I can do on this one. Like, is there a little tiny imperfection that I can faff with? Do some hobby right in the middle of the video, right? This is a seam scraper from the Monument Hobbies. I can see where this is pushed out of the mould. Yeah, I found a little bit to do. Just get that done now, so when I put these away again and I say that they're ready for spraying, they genuinely are ready for spraying. There we go. And that was it. And that's probably the the exception rather than the rule down there. Just that little imperfection there to be smoothed out. And then we got Tywin Lannister. Again, to get that much detail into something that small is pretty impressive. Like, I don't like the way he's got kind of this two-step base, so I'm going to need to fill that with some basing material or putty to try and bring that all to one level, because otherwise that's going to annoy me, because he's just like on a thing in the middle of his base. I guess to give him a little bit more height, right? Again, I'm seeing almost nothing on there in terms of any work to be done modelling. And that's it. That's 5. Can't count. 5. Let's put them back into the shot. There we go. Let's go up. Push that way. And focus. So that was my very off-the-cuff review of the, what are we, Lannister Heroes 1 for the Song of Ice and Fire Miniatures game. Let's have a little look at the cards that came with it. I'm going to have a little rant now about cards. Being a Warhammer guy, right, cards in games... When I first got these, I looked, oh, it's another game with cards. And then I had this thought, like, it is every game, isn't it? It is every game other than Games Workshop stuff where the units are on cards. Like, how does this many models, right? I'm not an expert in how this game is played, but how does this many models, 5 models, how does 5 models require you to have this many cards? It's absurd. Right. So I could read these, but I've literally got no idea. So you've got... okay. So I guess because they're heroes, they've got a lot going on, right? So what I'm not seeing on any of these... Oh, hang on. Oh, they're double-sided. Right. So... Backs. Right. So... These will be your actual unit cards, I imagine. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 versions. I realise people that understand this game are now shouting at me in the comments, but two Tyrions, 2 Tywins. So they are unit cards, right? Not seeing much in the way of stats here for old Sandor Clegane, who you'd imagine... I know in this game some of your characters are like non-combatants that stand on the side and give passive buffs, but I would imagine there'd be a strength or a toughness or some... I don't know. He's got a 2. I know nothing about this game, but there you go. And then why you've got a character version and a character commander version. Why? Why? So, this is the Great Lion, and this is the Lord of Castle Rock. Let's do some science. So, right now, no, I'm working nothing out from here. I thought I was able to work it out. For example, okay, so the one that says the Great Lion, is that the version of him as a support character? I say only because his frame is similar to the High Sparrow's frame and Pycelle's frame, whereas on this side, their frame is not the same, but similar. So this is the version if you want to use him to actually fight people, right? And it'd be the same then with Tyrion. Do I assume that? Maybe. Maybe that's what's going on. So those are the unit cards with doubles up for some of them. They're going to need clear... I'll actually play this game. They're going to need clear sleeves, right? And then... Okay, and then they've got... I guess because this is characters... So then you've got abilities for Tywin, abilities for the High Sparrow, abilities for Tyrion, more abilities for Tywin, more for the High Sparrow, and more for Tyrion. So some of them have ability cards as well. I know a lot of people like cards in games, and they prefer them to army books. I prefer army books because cards in games, for my money, always seems to descend into a collectible card game adjacent element to your game where, oh, well, you've bought the set with the models, but then somebody tells you actually the cards in that set have been superseded by these other cards, and now you've got to buy a card pack, and, you know, oh, maybe you've got this character who wants this card, but this card only comes bundled with this other thing that you don't want. You buy that, you put the card in, and then, oh, now we've changed all the cards again, so now you've all got to go and buy the Season 2 card pack, and if you play in tournaments, they all use these other cards, and they have to be ordered from here. It always seems to become a faff, marshalling the cards and making sure you got the right cards. And for a game that's like not even going to be, if I decide to get, to be fair, the miniatures look really nice. I'm definitely going to enjoy painting these miniatures, right? And then when I've painted, I'll probably want some more dudes for whatever the smallest... But then I don't imagine... Again, this is the thing. Why are they selling me 5? I don't imagine you're going to play a standard sort of skirmish, standard open... And you're not going to use all of these guys unless you're playing in a really massive... points value. One would imagine, right? But yeah, weird assortment of. I don't know. I would have expected. I'm not a Game of Thrones expert, but I would have expected to see Jaime or Cersei. Miniatures a bit weird, a bit kind of board gamey in like texture. I want to spray them, see how well they hold the spray, paint them. I think the detail is very crisp on them. I think they're quite robust, but they're probably a little brittle compared to Games Workshop plastic. Scale, there's an interesting thing. So here is... Well, I was just pulling one of my legionaries off his base, and actually what I've done is pull his legs off. That's... Shed a quick tear for that one. So this is one of my legionaries for the Legionary Challenge, which is what I should be painting. There we go. So that is, if you know the size of a Dark Angel veteran fella in robes. You know. I reckon they're in about. To be fair, I think they're in sort of in scale with 40k, considering, or in the scale 40k used to be in, right, when these were the current Space Marines. Like the Space Marine is about the same size as the Hound, who's massive compared to all the others, who are kind of smaller in stature. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, good. So I think that's really all I've got to say on this. Will I be buying any more? Will I be featuring the game on the channel? I don't know. If this is a game that you play, right, and you want to talk about it to me in the comments and say, oh no, it's amazing, you should do this and do this and do this and do this and do this, then you leave that comment. I will paint them at some point. Not soon, because I've got all these legionaries to paint. I've now got to glue one back together because I've just torn him in half on camera, which was great. But yeah, I hope that's helped somebody. Like that, I don't know, just a weird little bit of off-brand content, because if you have something, it's just, I open the box expecting to see sprues, you know, like at the Christmas party, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, what's this? And I'm like, oh, it's weird pre-made miniatures, and I don't know, I'm fully aware that for some people watching this, they'll be like, yes, I hate the misery of clipping and filing and gluing. Personally, I like the misery of clipping, filing, gluing, so that's... But the painting part, even when I get round to them, hopefully this year, be good for the old hobby bingo, though, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. If you want to think. Although I don't usually worry for characters, do I? Yeah, there you go. So, A Song of Ice and Fire, Lannister Heroes Set 1. Will this be like the Star Wars stuff I reviewed? Will you never see it again on the channel? Don't know. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I hope you found that informative. If you searched this video up because you were looking for A Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game stuff, then, I mean, you can subscribe. Like, that's certainly appreciated. But mainly a Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team channel this, so your mileage may vary. But if you like my style, I'm aware in this video I'm not coming across my best because I'm very kind of not. I'm turned 90 degrees. I'm not in my element, and the camera is to my face, and everything's gone a bit wrong, and I've torn a marine in half. But if you like the video for its style, then you'll like the other videos on the channel. So subscribe for that. Definitely leave a comment, especially if you know more about this than me. Hopefully this has value in terms of, I think it's fun when you know about something and you get to see a video of somebody that clearly doesn't know anything about it opening up going, what the heck is this? So hopefully you found value there. This is not, as sometimes my videos can come off as me saying, well, look, I've studied this, and this is how this goes, and this is what these rules do. This is the other. This is the shoe on the other foot. This is me going, I have literally got no idea what this is. This is my first impression of it. So please do come and tell me why I'm wrong. Subscribe and that sort of thing. Right, I've rambled enough. That's nearly half an hour. 25 minutes. 25 minutes of me opening one of my Christmas presents. That is content that was quick to make. Right, thanks everybody. I hope you have a great new year when you get to it. I don't know if this, as I do this today, I don't know if I'm putting this video up today because I'm kind of waiting to see if Games Workshop put out a video about what's coming for 40k and if that has any Kill Team stuff in, and obviously I'll make that video. If that doesn't appear, I've got this one recorded and set up, so I'll upload this one instead. Yes, or you'll see this tomorrow. Today is Thursday, so happy Thursday. But maybe I'll upload it on Friday, so happy Friday. Right, cheerio.